Falcon, our killer, has set up for us. Which, well, I'm looking in the bottom right corner, and I see we already have something very, very special lined up. For all you lovely Clash Royale players, this is basically the sneaky golem we have. We're just gonna pray that these survivors don't find Devour Hope the entire game. And then out of nowhere, kaboom, bridge spam it, and we'll just see what happens. But right now, Falcon actually isn't finding anyone. Usually on these unknown sets, people have realized that the unknown isn't that strong of a killer, so you see a bit of a more aggressive approach. But right now, Team Sirenia is actually stealthing it out quite well. We're just going to try to slowly get to these gens before we start our first chase, which is definitely also a viable strategy. But we do catch someone here on 12. This is a pretty decent place to start this first chase, since you can have max distance around the broken truck. M2 barely not going to hit. We dodge it very nicely. And we do actually have the amazing chase bug right now, but that's fine. Head-on in first chase, that means we might be swapping our target onto the head-on, since this usually isn't the best survivor to be our tunnel out, since they don't actually have any head exhaustions to help us in chase. Which I believe we do have a lot of exhaustions allowed. We do have life and sprint burst and balance and smash hit. So if we get a nice chase onto Feli here, that could be quite good for an unknown player. M2 just barely connecting. Also, of course, get the hinder, so this is definitely a good start of the chase. I believe this might even be an M2, and we're kind of on a zone the filler here. This could be catastrophe. I mean, our killer is just playing this very, very slow. We're not even letting them drop the pallets. We're just going to try to play with M2. Do we get the snipe? Survivor dodging it quite early. And yeah, that is just definitely going to be a pallet stun. We do not get that swing at all. And yeah, we didn't have enough distance here. We also have that pallet on 4, another very strong pallet. And I think we're either just going to have to force this M2. Or the bait comes out perfectly, actually. We baiting the M2. We did see a survivor a little bit in the distance, and we see another survivor right here. Moon getting tagged by the M2, and this gen is super high progress. Sprint burst coming out, but the distance, I was gonna say it's not enough distance. We could get that M1, but that does mean we would go very, very far away from our select survivor, which is something we're a little bit scared of. We know 2 survivors in this little bottom side of the map on 6, and we did also know 1 person popped the generator on, I think it was 12 or somewhere top side of the map. Or no, it was Shaq, So yeah, they obviously rotated to the side of the map as well to try to help with this pallet save, which, I mean, this is the problem with Unknown. You have so many of these strong pallets on Wrecker's Yards, especially the pallets that are more towards the middle of the map. If a survivor dies on them, you just cannot do anything if the survivors play it well, which right now they are definitely doing. We're probably going to see just a reset coming out onto our Tori, who was our first injury, and right now Z is doing a phenomenal job in chase. We're on a decently unsafe 4 lane, but we're just making the absolute best of it. We're not vaulting anything, we're playing our distance on our pallet, winning some 50s every now and then, because you just have to be the GOAT sometimes against Unknown. And I mean, now, we've pretty much reset. We have no injuries, no downs. We have 1 person infected with the UVX, but we have 2 whole generators popped. This is an insane start for Sirenia, especially considering this was actually Sovereign's pick. This is not the start you would be expecting, and definitely not the start I was hoping for, especially since we see such an aggressive perk build. We're seeing just Pop Eruption, Standard, and Corrupt, and of course Devour, but none of these perks are giving us any value unless we start getting some downs soon, which is definitely a problem, because we have used a couple of resources around this side of the map, but as talked about, we still have this strong pallet on 4, we still have most of the resources on the left side of the map as well. A bit of a swing here might have been a miss trying to put our M2 out, but unfortunately, but survivors actually just. Oh, I was gonna say playing it super slow, but we see 2 different survivors ready to get on this generator all the way at 3. Is you know, it's fine. We can try to stack generators right now once we have this much progress already. Like any generator that we pop now is already a generator too much for this first chase. So I feel like survivors have time to play this in whichever way they would really like. Back pallet going down though, resources running out a little bit more, but they're just running out slow. It's only 1 at a time. And we're taking the chase on up now, which what we need here is a 2-tap and 1 coming out, just barely connecting. But yeah, she dispels in time. She reaches Shack window, another generator popping in the corner. Not really sure what our Unknown can realistically do here. Survivors are in the state where they have such a high mental. 4th gen popping as well, and at this point I feel like we could just start playing for more pallet saves or hit tanks as well, since Now these resources are actually finally running out, but still have so many health states as resources you can also use. I mean, you have time to keep resetting, but at this point, you could just take 3 more hits as a survivor team, and then afterwards pop the last gen, and there's nothing the killer can really do. Failed head-on attempt coming out here, that's quite unfortunate. We're not going 2 for 2. Instead giving the Unknown another free tag, is definitely something we need. And what we have to play for right now is this decent free gen we actually have on the right side of the map. It's not the worst free gen you've ever seen. And that combined with the fact that most of the resources are gone, I don't even know what to say. It doesn't matter. We did not check up on our gen, sadly, and we just see Ellie going into the basement, which I think is a guaranteed 1k free here. Yeah, I mean, survivors are going to be on the gates. We're healthy, we're just going to be escaping. There's no reason to try to unhook this. The basement unhook is always scary, especially against Unknown. That M2 on the basement staircase can offer so much potential and allows for both 2 taps and hitting multiple survivors at the same time. Our survivor team is, of course, just going to make this insane result. Nice little FTP play coming out, very, very necessary. And that is a match. Welcome back, everyone. We are back with Sirenia versus Sovereign. This time, Sovereign have to go up against Dub with this very, very hard win con that was set by Team Sirenia last game. We have to go out of this game having been hooked only twice. That is not an easy feat at all, but also not the most impossible, I suppose, because personally I've gone into Unknown matches with a 4-stage win con and lost it, so... No, this killer, he's not the best, but we have to see a very big shift in the type of gameplay we're going to be seeing from our survivor side. We have to see a lot of team play. We have to see, well, cleansing the totems is definitely going to help if we get both of those early on. Because I was just about to get into that. We're seeing a bit of a different build. Ruin Undying on top of the, of course, classic Pain Res. Ruin Undying, it's a good option on Unknown. A lot of like S tier killers would also use Ruin or Undying. So usually on an M1 killer like Unknown you wouldn't expect it too much, but I think we're kind of more using it in the way that a Huntress would use Ruin, where like you get your first hook, you can kind of just camp it out, you stay around there as much as you can, and then either they trade and give you a free pain res, or you just keep sniping gens that are nearby and they can't work anything nearby. So we did see a nice tag coming out. That is not going to be another tag though, we are definitely not hitting that. I think both teams are on relatively good ping right now, which is always good to see. Reset onto res has already come through. That's some great performances by the survivor team. And again, we are just seeing a longer stretch here without any downs. Corrupt is almost running out soon, and we have, again, no injuries. We got rid of a couple of pallets in the meantime, but nothing the survivor team can't deal with. I mean, Ruin is still up, so the survivors are being pressured off of these gens a little bit right now, which is giving some Ruin value. M1 coming out. If they might be able to get the Dispel off in time, yes, they do, and they do also get around the corner, so they're going to be safe either way. Making this tile on 6 once again. You see another survivor in the distance. Maybe they were trying to get ready to get on that totem, but sadly we're not going to be able to do that. Pampuki trying to send it a little bit too early, sadly runs into a dead zone, and we don't have the bus on 8, we instead have the broken truck, which is obviously the... I'm not even sure if it would be the worst tile, but it's not the tile we needed right now. We needed a pallet or something. This is going to give our first hook stage to Dub. I don't think any generator is going to pop before we get there. It's so close, but the Painers comes out. It's very unfortunate, and now our killer is just going to try to pressure these gens again. He actually is also aware of where this generator is, so we're getting a nice infection onto our detective tap here. Let's run across the map. Crazy snipe! Oh, I thought it almost hit, but that was something else happening on the left. That's it. Early unhook. That is obviously expected. I mean, we're all the way across the map pressuring these other survivors. At that point, the unhook is almost forced. And that's getting found in chase now. We're not going for a tunnel out, which of course isn't necessary when we only need a total of 3 hook stages. Or it would be 3 hook stages on 2 different survivors at least, would be the win con. But Taylor just has so many options here. We have this generator high progress, so we're just stopping it. And this is an injured survivor as well, which means this chase might not last that long, especially since we have not the best RNG. We have this TL right here. We're going for a bit of a crazy snipe, backing it all the way up. That is quite crazy. Teleport coming through. maybe even gone for an M2 there, since both of the survivors were still infected. Instead, we're going on to a snipe onto Rez. That's not going to connect, but it does give Pampuki a little bit of more time to, I would say, get into position, but we can't really go anywhere since we're slightly dead zoned. We're just forced to stay on this TL. And Dub is still trying to use their power, but it might be just better to swap to the M1. Sadly, Pampuki not ready for the unknown. Didn't know exactly where they were. Now we're gonna get a hook on this relatively progress gen. Probably just gonna kick the pallet, maybe sending it right to the other gen. So we want to see where these progress generators are. Obviously, we knew this generator on 1 or 2 was quite recently. We see some scratches around the bus. Leave. Maybe I'm going crazy, but yeah, we see scratches on the bus, 1 survivor on generator, 1 survivor injured, and 2 people infected. This is not the best position to be in for Team Sovereign. And yeah, that's just a death as well. This is such a head zone part of the map. We have no pallet on 1 and 2, a hill, mid 2. That's quite unfortunate. We only have that edge map filler we briefly saw. We look back towards 3. That is going to be our second pain res of the game, and actually already our win con for Team Sirenia. But of course that doesn't mean the game's over. We're gonna have to try to play this out and get the best result possible for both sides. Especially considering this was actually Sovereign Team's pick. It's kind of important that we still set up a good result here. If we're getting like 4k 2'd or 4k freed, it's gonna bring down those spirits, and I don't think we're going into the best spirits for the next set then, so I'm gonna hope to see some out still. We see the head out play, but Dub actually expecting it. It's so much wasted time from the survivor side, and we're going down in this corner pocket. Actually seeing the Mori. Let's go. I always love the unknown Mori. Yeah, that is so unfortunate about the head-on play. We could have even just gone for a hit tank and let our survivor reach Jack or just anywhere safe on the map that is still up. But instead we're going down and into the freebie one already quite early. And we still have not been able to cleanse our Ruin Totem, which is also really, really bad. Especially the freebie one, it's just kind of unplayable with Ruin. We always need these fast rotations, you need to be able to pre-stealth the killer, and none of this is possible if the generator is just constantly regressing while you're not on it. I'm actually also quite surprised to see it hasn't been cleansed, because I know we saw the totem quite early on 6. Start of the game, all of the survivors were over by the totem, and I feel like we could have cleansed it by now. But instead, we've just been prioritizing gen progress, but this gen progress is split onto so many different generators. Like, we were seen on the gen on 12, we're seen on the gen on 11, this gen on 3 is now regressing again as well. Just seeing a nice standard chase by Dub, breaking the pallet, zoning them. And M2 actually doesn't connect. That looked like it was a hit on my screen, I can't lie. But Raz doing a great job. We're going to be staying on this pallet to get to the Dispel. Playing the 50s to perfection, and we teleport at just the wrong timing. But it's actually life. I was going to say we could have just gone for the M1 there, but yeah, our survivor had life, and maybe Dub expected that. Not going for the M1. We do reach a little bit longer, and we're going all the way into the corner 9. Maybe hoping our survivor team is able to pop 1 or 2 generators. Okay, we see some wall hacks through the truck. I don't know about that, so we should disable that. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, 2 generators popping. This is such a great chase, and Roz is dispelling once again. We still have this pallet available. TP coming out perfectly. Catches them off guard. Oh, I was gonna say, are there gonna be the footsteps? We don't hear anyone though. We did see a small glimpse of, I think, Vasca around here. Which does also mean they're going to be trying to stealth for this unhook. Taylor is looking for them though. And actually we saw, I believe we saw the purple glow in the middle of the tile. It's always a little bit easier to spot survivors if they're already infected, but Dub just really missed it. Or maybe that's a bit of a spectator bug, I'm not entirely sure. But we are just going to be going back instantly. Claudette did just start working the generator on free, which means we have a lot of time to buy. Before Rez gets down here. I mean, it's 80 seconds on the generator, and Rez only has 1 health state to work with. That is why Vasquez also coming in to help, but this M2 is not what we needed. That is not a lot of time wasted, but wait, we could also just swap targets here. I mean, yeah, taking this chase is definitely not a bad idea. This is still a free pain res anytime we down him, and the down is coming out quite early. We could even choose to hook on the gen on free as well. Dub could be expecting that they're working that gen right there, since the other survivors were both on the left side of the map when we started the chase, and no other generators were progressed. Yeah, we are just gonna try to see how much progress this generator has, just to check up on it. Our TP timer is still quite long, so we can't really place a favorable TP here right now, but we could just commit this Claudette, as she is also our last pain res. And yeah, we have two difficult option here for Dub! You see they're kind of like choosing, do I go back to the 2 injured survivors, do I commit this chase? Yeah, we are just choosing to commit, and it works out perfectly. We get the M1 right through the pallet. Nice mind game on the 4 lane. Juani deciding to just send it and get a lot of distance, but sadly doesn't work out. They will just be falling to the ground. The survivors are trying to get a reset. I'm assuming maybe the other survivor is 99. Hopefully, see them getting back in this 3v1, but right now it's looking quite rough. I mean, everyone's been hooked. We have someone on death hook. And it's a pretty decent free gen. It's definitely not the best, but 2 of these generators, they're kind of in the corner of the map. You don't really have many options of safety to run to once a killer finds you there. Yeah, I mean, both survivors get caught off guard here. We know where both of them are. Just gonna try to cut this unhook off as long as possible. I mean, no one's on gens. All of the gens are 0 because still, Ruin hasn't been cleansed. Team, we have to get this totem. It's not gonna be possible if we don't cleanse this. For a sneaky shot through the window, but it doesn't work out. Both survivors are actually also infected right now, which makes this so much scarier. It means we're just unable to go for this pull. I mean, getting a beautiful hit onto the shack survivor here. Unhook comes through. That means it has to be Rez who got the unhook, and they are infected, and I believe Deathhook as well. So if we get a fast chaser, that would be really good. But this Paladin free actually remained up for all this time in the map. That's really important. That means Rez is going to be able to take a lot of distance and extend this chase just quite a lot longer. Survivors are just doing the gents. I feel like at this point, playing slow and resetting and playing it safe is not something you can afford to do anymore. Killer teleporting away, though, realizes they're working the shack gen. They're maybe even stacking this. Yes, it does look like it. But once again, we're looking through walls. Dub, what are we doing? Stop it. But yeah, I mean, this is just such a rough position to be in. You don't have time to heal because the generator goes back to 0. But you also don't really... You can't really just do the gen because these chases are going too fast. And honestly, it's looking more and more like a 4k1 at this point. Survivor gonna be forcing the locker. I'm not entirely sure if that's necessary, since Dub probably hoping to book this anyways, since the gen isn't that high progress yet. See Survivor getting ready to do the totem. Survivor pre-leaving shack. Yeah, this is really hard. We even hear this generator on free is completely regressed. Any progress on it's already gone completely down. And we actually catch the Survivor doing the totem, but they get it done just in time. Yeah, I mean, we still have this pallet. I thought this already got dropped earlier, but we still have this pallet. Nice pallet stand coming from Reds. That case is going to last just quite a bit longer now. We're trying to go for a bit of an M2 here. Yeah, now we have a couple of different options. We could just commit the Claudette here. She's Deathhook and infected. We only have this shitty Auto Haven TL. I mean, there's not much you can do. Have this TP to work with. Looks like we're going to try to use it, but we send it. Good job by Claudette. Reaches town 10, and now we're actually in a bit of a predicament because this generator on Shack is all of a sudden super high progress. I'm not entirely sure where this came from, but this is giving the survivors the pressure they needed. Even though everyone's injured, now we have something we can play from. This is exactly what I've been hoping to see this whole time. Ruin is gone, and we have no eruption available, which the survivor team could have known since we cleansed both of these totems, and it was Painers and Corrupt. So now we only have dry kicks to work with, and I mean, survivors might actually be going for a bit of a sneaky reset. As stuck on the bottom side of the map. We actually catch Claudette off guard! Great snipe from Dub. And yeah, I believe she was Deathhook. And we're just gonna be mooring. We saw Survivor in the distance, maybe ready for a flashlight save or a cracker save. But we're not gonna allow any of that. We're just gonna take it safe. Even though the Mori takes a little bit longer than unhooking, it's just that extra bit of safety and that extra bit of content, of course, we needed. Now we're stuck in the 2v1. 2 injured survivors. Dub just has to make sure we don't leave this shack generator for too long for them to pop it, but it's already popped! Survivors were stacking it. Oh, this is so unfortunate. I feel like if we if we didn't Mori, we might have been able to stop it in time. But now the survivors did a great job. They also have Adrenaline and Rez pulling in a Houdini. Might have just vanished into thin air. We're hiding behind some tires, but Dub actually... Oh, I was gonna say they know it. They were looking around here. He realized he was stealthing nearby somewhere, but we don't look for the exact location. We're not choosing to take the basement hook, instead hooking kind of in between these gates. Location you can easily look at. The gates are quite open. It might be able to just spot Rez from a distance here, but Red's actually going for the unhook, it seems, which is... If we get that unhook, it's going to be almost a guaranteed one person out of the gates at least. Oh, this is just evil. Oh, this hook was placed here by a behavior dev themselves. Give Dub that an amazing sniper's view we needed. Going for the classic M2 after an unhook. Maybe we get a 2-tap onto Rez. This... No, this is not looking good. They dodge it! Very nicely done. Not patient enough by Dub. And do we force a locker? It looks like we are just forcing the locker. Survivor on the gates. We have Rezi to open it a little bit faster. Rez doing some locker text. But yeah, we are just going to take this hook. And I believe that is one survivor out of the gates, which is not the worst result ever. I mean, it's better than it was looking at some point. It was looking quite grim with a def at, I believe, 3 gens. But yeah, we managed to pull it back. We locked in the 3v1. That was exactly what we needed to see.